to a tutorial. This is going to be demoing some of the basic features of an application called Doceri. This is in the category of whiteboard apps or smartboard type technologies, where we will take an application on an iPad and make this become your whiteboard, what you would work on in class actively. Or you can prepare this ahead of time and use some of the more advanced features to kind of play back what you've done as you go through this in your lessons. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to kind of take a minute and go over the basics in terms of what all the functions are, what are the basic ideas in terms of what are the buttons at the top, what do they all do. And so I'll just kind of start going from the beginning. If you see the first icon on the far side, you see that opens up basically your project folder. You can see here I've created some subcategories, subfolders for the classes that I teach. Or if you don't create folders, then it just puts your projects here in the Doceri, its native file type. And so this is kind of organization. You can rewrite these, rename them. You can add new files, create new folders. It's pretty self-explanatory. The second option is, and you can see here it says 138, 140. Currently, I'm actually recording this video, and in the movie feature, I can click that, and it shows. Now, normally you wouldn't see this on a movie. I've got the settings set up where you can actually see. It's mirroring exactly what I see as the instructor on the screen. The way I normally do this is if whatever I see is unique. What the students see is just the whiteboard. So no matter how my settings change, or no matter how my view changes. So for example, I can turn my iPad portrait, and I get a view like this. Now, the students don't see this. The students' view doesn't actually change at all. They still see what we would consider the original image, what we had before, and they still see just the basic whiteboard part. Turn it back, and it goes back to what it had before. And so the movie settings, I can, of course, in this case, I can pause my recording. I can stop it if I'm finished with it. And when you're not in the process of recording videos, you can actually find out, you can go back and watch other videos. You can export those videos, organize them, and other things like that. We have background choices here, and this is a pretty self-explanatory scenario, but you have a lot of different things. Graph paper, whiteboards, chalkboards, isometric graphs. You've got polar graphs, maps, even has music, and then obviously different type textures for backgrounds. And you can choose those. A lot of times I just choose different colors. So you have an option here of choosing it with a color wheel or with the preset patterns or colors. And here you have the option of choosing a background of a specific pattern that you like. Maybe you imported an image that you like to have as your background. Maybe you've got like a lower third that you want to throw in there, or something customized. You can always save that here once you've got it set up. It'll save that background, and you can pull it up as you see fit. The next one would be to bring in an image, and you can see here I've actually done that. So I could just click on my photo library, and I could go to my camera roll or anything that I've saved in the past and choose those images, throw them in here. Something that's really useful is if you've got an image that you want to take a picture and then just show it to your class immediately, you can, instead of going to the camera roll, you can go back and you can choose camera and put it in from your camera directly. So that's real quick. Export. A lot of times if I've taken notes and I want to make a video, but I also want to make my images as notes for students to print off, then you can save all those as a PDF document. You can save the current image that you're working on, as you can see there, or I can export the entire slideshow or the entire setting in different PDFs as a finished slide, so it's a complete image. Next we have our toolbar. inside the toolbar, you have a lot of different options, and I'm going to kind of demonstrate each one of these. So you have the pen, which is kind of like a calligraphy pen, so it gives you some different values. And so if I wanted to show you what the toolbar or what the pen looks like, and let me show you, you have a couple options first. Here are all of the options, and I'm not going to go through each one. They're pretty easy to go through. Size, the pixel size is obvious. Spacing size, if you maximize that spacing, you can see at the top that it kind of spaces the dots out. You can also change the opacity of your objects, make it transparent or any level of transparency. So here's what the pen looks like. It goes like this. Here's a felt tip marker, a little finer tip, maybe airbrushed type images. But here I've got it fine because it does a really good job of keeping it really, really fine. But if I increase my spray a little bit, you can see that it creates those pieces like that. But I tended to keep it more. I wanted to kind of give you an idea if they're all 2 pixels. These are what the different ones look like. And of course this would be your highlighter, and of course you can see it goes over things. And you can adjust that highlighter thickness by quite a bit. And so if you wanted to highlight over things. We also have the shape tool. I've got it set on square and circle, or ellipse, excuse me. And of course we have our eraser. The eraser is specific, really, like it works just like you would think an eraser would. It erases the part that you move it over. So it doesn't erase by stroke. A lot of applications like this erase based on the entire stroke one at a time. So if I only wanted to erase part of it, you can see that that is a possibility as well. And then, like, wait a minute, I didn't want to do that. We have an undo button, and I can click that undo, and it undoes per step, or I can redo. For like, oh, no, I really do want to get rid of that. And you can do it like that. But just to prove another point, I could also say, you know, this is a bunch of mess. I want to get rid of all of it at once. You can click Erase All Strokes. Now, when you click Erase All Strokes, what that does is it takes out the images as well. So that might not be the case you want to do. So we can click the eraser. One of the options on eraser is the size. I typically keep it at the maximum size. You can see here, that's how the max size. That's not that big. So we'll go ahead and erase the rest of these pieces. And the last, well, the last 2 buttons that you see on the top are the settings menu. One thing about Doceri is before you purchase the app, it has a watermark that when you publish that on a screen or something like that, or if you make a video, it shows up on the bottom, which it's not a big deal. I think it's $5 or something, or maybe it's $4 now. They do make a stylus, which I don't know much about. There's a couple other settings here which you can of course go through that, and we'll talk about in a later video. The last button, which I'm not going to click, is the close button. It'll close out your file, and it goes back to your original menu. And that's pretty much it for the toolbar for Doceri. I'll mention one other thing and we'll be done. At the very bottom you can see the wrist guard. What's nice about the wrist guard is now I can place my hand on the actual screen, and I can write on the screen. And it's a lot more comfortable rather than having to kind of keep your hand written in the air. That's very awkward to do, and so it's always nice to have the ability to and plus you can write a lot more comfortably here, and so you can go through that. And that's Doceri. For in a basic nutshell, this is what you have, and it's a great tool. There's a lot more advanced features that make this application absolutely one of a kind. At least I haven't seen another application that can do some of the things that this one can. So check back, and I'll love to talk with you later.